You're watching H&L. I'm Ursula Botha, and this is the show where we help you build your confident voice so that you can advance in your career and in your personal life. And today's confident voice guest is Mr. Ross Drakes. He is the founder of Nice Work. He is a keynote speaker, a podcast host of One Last Question and Radio. He hosted 8 years of Creative Mornings in Johannesburg, and he is the proud owner of a rocking beard. Welcome to the show, Ross.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I was supposed to do like a big reveal, but I feel like I missed my moment.
It was the beard took over.
Okay.
Of the moment.
I got that.
Ross, you have an incredibly confident voice, a presence when you speak, a presence when you host your podcast, and I know you're very purposeful in everything you do. So can you take us through your journey in finding your voice in your field of expertise, branding, communication, and all that you do?
Cool. Well, I think really important to understand for me is looking back. I've always pushed myself into uncomfortable scenarios. So I think I've been quite intent on doing certain things. So, the first Creative Mornings I ever hosted was one of the first times I'd ever stood up on a stage, and I had sweat pouring down my back and it was a deeply traumatic experience. But then third event, fourth event, fifth event, sixth event, suddenly it's not such a strange thing to do anymore, and you get kind of used to it. And then started doing podcasts, and the first one was super nerve-wracking, second one slightly better, third one slightly better. And I think with all of them you can, or at least what I do is I try and challenge myself, how do I do this better? Because I think in the beginning it's just about doing, because it's so overwhelming and so difficult to figure out what you don't know because you haven't done it yet. You just need to do it, and then once you've done it you can go, okay, and now I can do a funny intro. Can I do a serious intro? Can I do a well-researched intro? I'm very good at showing up unprepared, being funny, and kind of using that high energy to sort of hide my nervousness or lack of preparation. But when you do it for a while, you're like, well, okay, I don't always want to rely on that. What does the quiet version of me look like? What does the loud version of me look like? What is the intentful, is that even a thing, version of me look like? So with podcasting right now, I'm doing two experiments. The one is I'm trying to make my voice more radio-like.
Oh, and how are you doing that?
Well, you just got to practice. When I record the intros for my shows, I try different things. I push my voice harder. I, increase the amount of emotion. So it would feel weird if I was talking to you like that. But often when you hear it played back, you're like, oh, this does actually sound quite good. So I'm just experimenting. That's something I want to hear, because you hear people, they climb on radio and they open their show and you're like, wow, that voice sounds like whipped butter, on fresh bread. And then you listen to yourself and you go, oh, I sound like I have a nasal South African twang. So how do you improve that? And I think radio people have just worked on their voice over a very long time.
Yeah. So I love everything you just said there, because you went into the voice and playing with the voice. You're very purposeful in what you do, what you communicate. What's your true north? What is that thing that gets you up in the morning and this is what I want to do in the world?
So, purpose has been a strange journey, a long journey for me. I think I felt lost for a long time because I started my business Nice Work when I was young. We were only 24 when we started it. And it wasn't like this clear decision. We were like, we're going to do this for the rest of our life. We were just like, we have these skills. People will pay us money for them. Let's do it. Yeah. So that's how the business started. We conceptualized it on the dance floor of a club. We wrote a business model down, which was like borrow money, buy a computer, get clients, get rich, was sort of the level of thinking. So,
how's that working for you?
Well, it's shifted completely since then. So the first 6-7 years of Nice Work was just a freewheel experiment in what can we do. But I think as I matured and as I got older, I thought to myself, what's important to me? Why am I doing this? I think when you're in your 20s, or at least for myself, it was about experimentation. I don't know what's important to me. I don't know what I love. I don't know any of these things. So I'm going to do 500 things and see which of the 20 that actually, feel right for me. So that was kind of the beginning of that journey. But I went to I'm part of an organization called the Entrepreneurs Organization.
EO.
And they have an event for people who've stepped up and been a servant leader in the organization called the Global Leadership Academy. And at the Global Leadership Academy, the question is always like, what is your purpose? Why are you doing this? What is important to you? And through that process, I came up with my purpose, which is I want to make the world a lighter place. And the tools that I use are laughter, inspiration, and perspective. So that's the thing that I want to do with my time. And I think part of how I got there was to think, what are the things that I'm doing that leave me feeling full?
Yeah.
Even, you can be tired and full. They're not kind of mutually exclusive. So when do I feel full and when do I feel empty? And what are the sort of elements in between those things? And whenever I was working on something that made the world a little bit better or made somebody's life better or helped someone have clarity or any of these things, I was like, well, this actually fills me up. And when I was doing stuff that was very mundane or very kind of financial in its only in its outlook, like this is a profitable piece of work, so let's do it. I could do it and I could force myself to do that, but ultimately I didn't leave the other side going, oh, this was worth my time. So that's the purpose statement that I try and live by, and I use the word try because I think this is a bit of a journey. You get it right sometimes and then things happen and you fall off path, but you can at least always sort of come back to that.
And because we're human beings. So to wrap up all of the good stuff you just gave us, the confident voice is built with a lot of experimentation and purpose. And I'd love for you to think in the break, what is the purpose behind your confident voice? We'll see you after the break.